Chairman, I yield to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gohmert, such time as he may consume.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, the crisis that we're in right now had a number of factors that helped create it. One, we had investment bankers on Wall Street got a little too greedy. Congress forced banks to make some loans that they shouldn't have made. But throughout all this process, community banks, generally speaking, by and large, have done a great job of staying stable, even through the toughest of times. But we keep rewarding greed and improper conduct and then keep hurting the people who have done the most good. Now, I understand the hearts of those on the other side that are pushing this, and I understand my colleagues feel like that it's going to help. But the fact is, you talk to the community banks who have really been hurt, starting with Paulson screaming, we'll take care of dollar for dollar of every dime in money market accounts, but banks are only covered to 100,000. People drew their money out of the banks. They still survived and they're doing good. But you got to look at what banks are required to do. They're required to be solvent. And that means on the asset side, they have to show a net plus. And if we pass this, then that net plus will be an uncertainty they will not know what they have, because we'll have a bankruptcy judge who can come in and just at his whim change the principal on a mortgage. And I see my colleague shaking her head. Bankruptcy judge will be able to lower the principal. That's what this is about. And that is going to be creating such uncertainty in the banks. And here at a time when we have just in 2 months added what will ultimately be more taxes to the next generation and the next generation than they can possibly pay. Now, if this passes, those banks will have to be so sure that people will not file bankruptcy. They're going to need to have a good credit history for 10, 15, 20 years. So not only were you adding all this tax burden to them, we're also telling them, and by the way, you're not going to be able to get a home loan for years to come until you have such a great track record that a bank can be certain you won't file bankruptcy, because otherwise their bankruptcy financial, or their bank financial statement will be uncertain. We've done enough damage to the next generations. It's time to stop hurting the next generations. Let's take care of this with our generation. Let's not reward problem activity. Let's let the community banks survive this process without hurting them any worse. I yield back.
Gentlemen,